you, sir. I now request Mrs. Mangekarsi from CBSE Madurai to do the honor of presenting a memento and a sapling to Dr. A.P.Jayaraman. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. A.P.Jayaraman, who has a priest. Dr. Jayaraman has delivered lectures and conducted workshops in scientific management in USA, UK, China, Korea, Japan, Singapore, Brazil, Malaysia, and in the Middle East. He has also taken part in 2 nuclear explosions in Pokhran. Now I welcome Dr. A.P.Jayaraman to share his views on distilling values for the 21st teaching.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me express my deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Franco for allowing me to come over here, stand before you, and enjoy this academic privilege of extreme magnitude. I am extremely weak in English. I would request 5 teachers of English to come forward and help me. I want 5 teachers of English to help me. I am exceptionally weak in my language. English is a foreign language to me. Please come. Five strong, beautiful, wonderful. What a comfort and consolation for me. Please be seated. You know my weakness in the language, so you have to help me out. Please pluck 1 leaf from this cabbage. They are plucking a leaf from a cabbage. Please. Doesn't matter. And give me one leaf. Thank you. Now we have successfully deflowered a cabbage, and we have a cabbage leaf in our tank. I would request my friends to do something like this. A verb. I don't believe in nouns. I don't believe in abstract nouns. I believe in doing. I believe in verbs. So we did something. What did we do? I don't want the same answer. Want another word? Damaged. Disfigured. Disfigured. It's becoming more literal.
Changed the shape.
Changed the shape. Transfigured it. Any other expression, any other word you have for this, what we did? Squeezed. Any semantic variation for this? Transformed.
Squeezed.
Changed. Changed. Modified. Transformation. We have a plethora of words, but not the right word. This morning, Professor Rawaki told you that creativity lies in association. The essence of creativity, the fundamental classical element of creativity is association. When we did something to this cabbage leaf, You crushed it, damaged it, disfigured it, all fine. But a native English speaker, what would be the verb he will be using? Pardon? Disturb.
As you told creativity, have it disturbed it?
Disturbed it, yes. What would George Bernard Shaw would have said? Or what would Shakespeare have said when this is done?
Maybe I have ruined.
Ruined. Which literature uses that expression?
Ruined the leaf.
Ruin the leaf. Now, this is where association comes in full measure. The playwright, English playwright, George Bernard Shaw, has written a famous novel called The Pygmalion. I think all of you, four of you will know. In Pygmalion, there is a passage. There is a girl, a flower girl, selling flowers, speaking the worst form, most reprehensible English. And a professor of English comes and says, Professor Henry Higgins, I will convert her into the Queen of Sheba. There is another passage, the most famous expression in English language. You squashed cabbage leaf. You incarnate insult into the noble architecture of these columns, to the language of Shakespeare and Milton and the Bible. George Bernard Shaw immortalized this activity which we did here by calling it the squashed cabbage leaf. The moment you see a cabbage leaf, George Bernard Shaw would rush into your mind. Pygmalion should appear you in full measure, and Eliza Doolittle must be living in your mind, and Professor Henry Higgins must be teaching you English. This is the power of association. And this is the power of creativity which Mark Nowacki was talking to you this morning. Thank you. Can I have my first slide, please? This is just a deviation from my structure because I just want to tell you that association, the power of association is what gives great insights into creativity. You can have a good cabbage maybe today. Yes. So I am more concerned with what are the value systems which we are giving in the school. Now, we teach physics, we teach chemistry, we teach physical chemistry, we teach chemical physics, all sorts of science and humanities. But the system should undergo a transformation. So I will call it, every teacher should study fractional distillation. That is, you have a complex liquid, which is an extremely complex creative subject, which is the student, that's matrix. From that you should be able to evolve and provide a value system. Presently I feel we should have 5.5 values. Now why 5.5? Every teacher should give 5 mindsets, 5 different minds to every student. Then they should give half a mind. Now half a mind is a beautiful English expression. I have half a mind to do it. Means I don't have the full mind to do it. Half minds are better than having no mind at all. Therefore, I would speak about 5.5 minds which every teacher should impart. Can I have the first? You can see expression there. V is value, D is discipline, S is synthetic, C is creative, R is respectful, and E is ethical. Then we have the half value, reasoned debate. Today debate doesn't take place, reasoned debate never takes place. All of us should be a little less irrational in our debates. Let's take the first value. Can I move the next slide, please? Okay. We see big schools. Schools better than malls, hypermarts, supermarkets. Infrastructure is extremely great. We have beautiful buildings, we have highly qualified principals, we have highly qualified teachers, libraries and students. But stone walls do not make a prison. These structures do not make great quality students. Something is missing. The essential element is missing. So these are the 5 mindsets I was talking to. First you will find Keynes, the great economist. He could tell us how it is possible to go into the depth of a subject. That's what symbolically represented by John Maynard Keynes. In the center you find a bearded man whom Nawaki was saying bearded people are beautiful. But for beautiful minds of the teachers, beard is not necessary. Now mentally, look at him. Out of the chaos caused by the confusion and indeterminateness of the diversity of chemical elements, 118, he showed the dialectical unity and genetic interrelationship with the whole material universe. That was a sweeping, grand, unified theory in which he could do that. That is the unification required at the intellectual level. So we have George, we have Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev in the center, second class. Third one, we have creativity, which Dr. Prabhakaran has mentioned you in great measure. He is not only a practitioner, but a producer and a consumer of great creativity. But creativity of the Einsteinian type is to be generated in the classroom. I'll come to that in a short while. Next one is, the times you will find respectful. Dag Hammarskjöld, the first president, second president of the Secretary General of the United Nations. Respect for minority opinion, respect for inconvenient opinions, and respect for explosive opinions. How do we live in harmony? Who have it with them? That's one. Then we have the ethical mind, not the moral mind. Ethicality is different from morality. Now, Bertrand Russell, one of the finest minds which we have found in the last century, a mathematician par excellence and a philosopher, he has been the classical example of an ethical mind. Then we have Aristotle. Now, if you can synthesize all this and give to your children, nothing like that. Can we do that? Can we give the essence, an extract from the brains of these people and give it to our students for the future? I do not know. Next one, please. Can I help you? Now we know yesterday, that is on 24th May, we got a report that your intelligence genes have been counted. And it is 52 as of today, as of 24. Today I do not know what it is. Now, next slide. A student will come to the classroom. Then, the genetic revolution will be like this. Here are my gene chips. These are my genes which are active. These are my genes which are inactive. Please teach me properly and effectively. If you are given this gene chip, how will you change your teaching habit to meet the requirement, the specific requirement of an individual student? That's a problem for you to solve. Next. Now we have information that I have been able to teach children to be better in maths without teaching mathematics. How to teach mathematics better without teaching mathematics? That's the methodology which Nawaki was speaking this morning of an abstract skill set. Now the IQ is increasing at the rate of 3 points per decade. Can I go to the next slide? I'm showing you a family. Imagine 1964. My IQ was X. When I was one of the 20 people selected by the Department of Atomic Energy throughout the country, I wouldn't know what my X is, but I was X in 64. Now when you look at my daughter, she is X plus 10 in the IQ scale. Now when I look at my grandson, it is X plus 20. Now this is the situation with which we have to deal. Every generation, there is a log difference. Next one, please. Okay. Now we come to the disciplines. We have a large number of disciplines. When I speak about discipline in the classroom, I am not speaking about the noise-free classroom. I am speaking of a very chaotic cacophony of sound coming from the classroom. But discipline means the subject. And most teachers are exceptionally adept in the art of delivering the subject matter. But it is not the subject matter which is important, it is the insight into the discipline of the subject. Now that's very different from the subject matter. So what we try to do is, if you teach a subject in too much depth, not as a vendor or a supplier of information, but as a teacher of transfer of information, then we find we can create a specialist. Or we can give average information and we can create a generalist of the IAS category. Or you can have a versatilist who combines the two. So it is the duty of the educational institutions today to produce not super specialists, not generalists, but that much wanted category and breed which is called the versatilist. That's what we need today, for which the scope of assignments and roles will be large. Next. So for education there is a price, there is a cost, and there is a worth for it, and there is a value for it. But the most disturbing factor is, what is the opportunity cost? If I spend 5 lakhs for education of a child, what can I do? What can I buy? Or what is the value of the thing which I am missing by spending on this? So opportunity cost is an economic construct which lets you know what you are missing out. So we come to the disciplinary value in eating. The disciplined mind will be learning to think. And thinking is most alien to human nature. Most of us think we think. Only 2% of the people think. 3% of the people think they think. And 95% of the people do not know. It's a painful process for them to think. Next. Now let's look at the disciplinary depth of a subject. All of you know, students, our teachers of physics and chemistry, that we have 118 elements in the periodic table. We also know the last one is organism, and the next penultimate one is SNI. These 2 elements were discovered last 2 years. Any student in 8th standard will know these names. But it is a duty of the teacher to find out that the last 2 elements belong to group 7 and group 0, and it will have the properties of the halogen elements and that of the noble gases. So it is your ability to fit into the system, but it's more important rather than knowing the individual properties of these elements. Next. So we have a new subject which doesn't belong to physics, chemistry, biology, history or anything. It is called a TOK. That is the theory of knowledge. This is a subject which is not taught either in CBSE or ICSE. A minor version which is being taught in CBSE under activities. But it's not activities alone. Theory of knowledge belongs to what is known as epistemology. And you must be able to apply this across all the disciplines, right from history, philosophy, physics, chemistry, and sports. So there is a fundamental concept which is known as epistemology or theory of knowledge, which you can apply to literature, to history, and to mathematics. And this is missing in the Indian system. Now, if you have depth in a subject, it's equally necessary for you to have breadth in the subject. We know Professor Shivadas was mentioning the PhD chemistry student was not able to say anything about chemistry. What is chemistry? Was not known to the PhD in chemistry. That is because there is a shallowness of the subject. Now beyond depth and breadth, can I move to next? What? Fine. Now we come to synthesizers. I told you the second mind. The 2 greatest synthesizers living today is an ant scientist, a person who studies about ants or entomology, or which is called myrmecology, and a physiologist called Diamond. These 2 scientists have been able to develop a grand unified theory around a large number of disciplines. Scattered, discrete information is processed into an integrated whole by their effort. Next. Now we come to the third mindset which you have to teach, that is called creating value. How do you help children to create value? So this you find, first you must have creative disobedience. If you have absolutely compliant, totally obedient students, no creativity will come out of it. That's called, you must have deconstruction first to have construction. So that's the creativity of the third order. Next one. And we have the beautiful minds. This is Nash equilibrium. He has been mentioning to you that classes will dull your mind, destroy the potential for authentic creativity. Next. Creating value. In creating value, I spoke about the depth, I spoke about the breadth. Now, depth and length are not enough. Stretch, elasticity, ability to adapt yourself to a given situation, that's which we call stretch. So I'm moving up. So we have a coil kept over there so that the stretchability, the adaptability is shown over there. Next one, please. So the fourth state of mind is what is called the respectful mind or the tolerance, your ability to listen to an opposing or contrarian view and not to get absolutely angry about it. Next one, please. And we come to the ethical value. Now, ethics and morality is something which is not to be taught like that. And there are situations in life where painful, poignant choices have to be made. And you will find a classical example here. When I move to the next, still next, still next, still next, still next. The best teaching of ethics and morality is done by Michael Sandel of the Harvard University. And he teaches this lesson in a very curious way. Next one, please. Next. Still next. Okay. Let us imagine we are going to do a thought experiment. In this thought experiment, there are 4 teachers. We have a physics teacher who is sick with a liver. The physics teacher is in need of a liver transplant. We have the maths teacher, a little weak in the heart and needs a replacement of the heart. And we have a chemistry teacher whose osmosis is not proper in the kidneys and the kidney needs a replacement. Then we have the biology teacher who has been using the lung to such a great extent that she needs a replacement for her lungs. These are the 4 teachers who are badly in need of replacement of their vital organs. Next. We have the sports teacher who is exceptionally good in all his organs. He has also come to the hospital for a medical checkup. The 4 teachers are waiting for the organs. Sports teacher is there. This child is wondering, shall I kill my sports teacher right now so that I can get all the 4 organs and give it to my 4 teachers and make them live? Now, this is a very painful choice. But this is a moral dilemma which most of us will face in one way or another. You may love your chemistry teacher. You may absolutely admire your maths teacher. But you have no reason to be disrespectful or condemnation for your sports teacher. So what we do is, next one. If you feel that one should die so that 4 shall live, that's a mathematical principle, the maximum number of people with the maximum happiness. Which means if you apply the theory of consequentialism, it is necessary for you to murder your darling sports teacher. Will you do it or not? Next. If you feel that there is a categorical morality which says all killing is bad and killing the sports teacher is bad, you will allow 4 teachers to die and let 1 sports teacher live. So that is the tragedy of our times. Next one, please. Still next. So we find creating these values, the first three are academic, can be very well done in the classrooms. Depth, breadth, and stretch, no problem. Teaching the fourth value, the value of respectful behavior towards contrarian opinions badly wanted in today's times, a contemporary desideratum, we find we need to teach this in great measure. And the fifth value which I have been referring to is consequentialism versus categorical morality. You have to make up your mind which one we will teach. Now, having taught these five values, we have still the problem of Shannon's theory of communication. Will we be able to communicate it to the community of consumers of our information, or we will only deliver an echo in the classroom to people who will re-echo it back to you? That's the biggest question in education. Now, I brought these 5 points for a simple reason. Dr. Franco was mentioning about the different educational systems, the CBSE, ICSE. For the last 2 years, I have been a student of 11th and 12th standard in the International Baccalaureate class. I have studied physics, chemistry, biology, history, all together through the new system. Now I find the 5 mindsets which Howard Gardner has proposed as a behavioral psychologist is possible for us to apply in the classroom. But these are isolated islands of excellence. It's extremely convenient to teach these 5 minds in an IB school, in the IBDP program. And I've seen wonderful, beautiful minds teaching this, and beautiful minds coming out of that. Perhaps the beauty gets multiplied manifold when they come through these teachers. But that's a minority. Shall we produce minority of exceptional excellence? Or shall we produce average people who can deal with their life? That's again the question number 5, morality, ethical issue. 2 things emerge from here. We have the cognitive capability to deliver the finest of information. 2 months ago, there was a wonderful experiment. If a rat can be taught some skills, and if the rat is killed and its brain is pulled out, and an ether extract is taken and injected to the grandchild of that rat, it would have already learned the grandmother's art. If we extract the intelligence of all our teachers by a process of ether extraction, injected to the students, we will be able to transfer knowledge at a much faster rate. Probably we will be breeding a generation of teachers for extracting their brain extract and injecting into a new generation of teachers, so that the lead time for the transfer of knowledge processing power is reduced to the law. That's a brave new experiment which we may not do. But there may be surrogate teachers who might be able to be willing to undergo this human experiment. So the essence is this. As a result of the advancement in science and technology, when we have studied the human brain, and when we have powerful tools like the functional magnetic resonance imaging, or the positron emission tomograph, or the CAT scan, you have 4 tools available. Your brain has been completely analyzed, and we do not know what are the deficits. Nowhere in the history of human civilization have we come to understand brain in its entirety as of today. We are still following a 200-year-old teaching system to a cognitive science which is extremely developed. This dichotomy is something with which we are living. And I would understand that in this point of time, teachers will go down in history, not as responsible citizens, but as lunatics. And they might be committing suicide for the civilization if they do not rectify this. Let us think of that situation. Given the opportunity, I failed to discharge my duty. Please don't know to do that. So I stop here, and thank you very much for your attention.
I'm sure we'll take these principal ideas and use it in our day-to-day teaching. Thank you once again, sir. Anyone who's got a question to ask? It's a questioning time.
I am not a professional psychologist to tell you how you should teach emotional intelligence. But the point is this morning Nawaki was telling you situational intelligence, SQ, and EQ and GQ. The SQ and EQ are the two pillars on which he built up his GQ model. Now, emotional intelligence normally comes into there is a hormonal balance when the input of information and the output of information is processed and there is no distortion within the system. Now, to make an appropriate response to an emotional situation depends upon the culture in which you have grown. Usually we should understand these are the negative feelings, these are the positive feelings, these are the do's and the don'ts. At any point of time, at any point in a culture, there are certain prohibitions, restrictions and proscriptions. That list is known to the students, either in the classroom or at home. The child will have the right emotional intelligence. There is not, I will today teach you all about human emotions, how to be angry, anger management will be taught to you. That's not the way to teach. You should not make people angry to teach them anger management. If situations are run in a scientific way, there is no reason for irrational emotions to spring up. And it will automatically come when the rest of the system is in perfect harmony.
Thank you, sir.